Star Wars is many things. It's adventure, it's fantasy, it's sci-fi, it's drama, it's also a little romantic. Romance is often an afterthought, or it's overlooked when we have a bigger conversation about Star Wars, and I'm gonna change that. With the announcement of Star Wars' first ever romance novel earlier this year and all the ensuing drama, backlash, and controversy surrounding said announcement, I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about one of my favorite subjects, love and romance and yearning. And I'm also going to go over the book as well as the controversy. Also the fact that there are a few books that people claim to already be Star Wars romance. And while we're doing that, I'm also going to create this makeup look here at the same time. By the way, I usually make Star Wars content and I do my makeup at the same time. So, if you like those things, then come hang out with us. Grab a tea or a coffee or a Red Bull and let's hang out and talk about Star Wars and love. What is an epic tale without a little bit of romance? I think that it would fall flat, to be honest. Think of all the great stories out there. They always have some kind of love or love aspect to them, because I feel like it's such a great motivator for a story and characters, whether it's family love, friendship love, brotherhood, or romantic love. Wars were fought over love. You feel me? And Star Wars does have its fair share of love stories, even though they all end tragically, or for the most part end tragically. Star Wars is no stranger to love and romance. For example, Kanan and Hera, Osha and Kyber from the Acolyte. We have Obi-Wan and Satine, Rey and Kylo from the sequel trilogy. I'm going to use my Mandalorian palette from ColourPop Cosmetics, and I'm going to go in with Mythosaur. And of course, we have to talk about Han and Leia, because we get so many iconic scenes from them. We also get one of the most infamous, why can I not say that word, infamous lines, one of the most recognizable lines in pop culture, even outside of Star Wars, and that is the "I love you and I know." I'm gonna go in with the Darth Vader palette from ColourPop Cosmetics. Speaking of Han and Leia, it is their love for each other that are huge drivers of their characters and the story. Without Leia being in love with Han, we wouldn't get her breaking into Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. It's because of their relationship, their romantic relationship, that pushes Leia as a character to go rescue her man. And how can we talk about love and romance as a plot device, storytelling device, and not mention Anakin and Padme? Without them, we wouldn't have anything in the universe. They are literally mom and dad of Star Wars. Anakin's descent into the dark side was greatly motivated because of love, whether that was his love for Padme and his obsession with keeping her alive because of him losing his mother, his love for his mother. He will do anything for the people he loves. I think that love is such a powerful and universal emotion, something that we can all relate to, even though it's a fictional world full of aliens and other planets and space operas and the Force. We're able to root that within real human emotions like love, hatred, jealousy. I would say that romance in Star Wars is very underexplored. The only thing I can think of recently in a Star Wars story where romance was explored in a really interesting way was in The Acolyte. I thought what Acolyte did with Osha and the stranger Kyber was so good and so interesting, and it was just so compelling. It was so cool to see the seduction of the dark side. You always hear about being seduced by the dark side, and we finally got something like that, and it just kind of fell flat, and then we didn't get a second season, and I'm still mad about it. I think that was such a cool subplot of the story, and not just because I'm a romance girly, but because it hasn't been done. So it was refreshing, and it was exciting, and it was this whole new take of the dark side. It's not this wrinkly old man trying to seduce a young man to the dark side. Our first ever Star Wars romance book is called Eyes Like Stars, and it's by Ashley Poston. This is from the author's website, ashposton.com/eyeslikeStars. New York Times best-selling author Ashley Poston is writing the first official Star Wars romance novel, which features a couple in search of their happily ever after in a galaxy far, far away. Set about a year and a half before Star Wars The Force Awakens, features all new characters, a mysterious artifact, and the fearsome First Order, coming summer 2026. That's it. That's all we know. That's all the information we got. So you might be wondering, why is there so much controversy and backlash? And girl, I'm wondering the same thing. One of the biggest topics that I saw being brought up about this novel is that it's the first ever official Star Wars romance novels, with people citing a few different novels as being romance novels. I was able to find 5 books that people generally consider to be romance novels. The first novel that a lot of different people were referencing, the High Republic novel Temptation of the Force. I mean, even just the name of it sounds like a romance novel. And this is by Tess Grayton. It's a thrilling sequel to Eye of Darkness. From what I read about this book is it has a big romance subplot, but it's not considered a romance. So this book is actually considered sci-fi. Temptation of the Force, though, I mean, if you were gonna have a Star Wars romance novel, I think Temptation of the Force is a great working title. Like, the second book that a lot of people referenced or was brought up the second most was Lost Stars by Claudia Gray, and this came out in 2015. And this is also a YA science fiction novel, so it's a sci-fi novel. Again, it has like romance in it, but it's not a romance. Are you sensing a theme? The third book is called The Courtship of Princess Leia, and this came out in 1994. And this is by David Farland. It is classified as a science fiction novel, once again. And the title itself is romance as fuck.
You watch your language.
I feel like some of these authors like wanted to write a romance and just couldn't pitch it or couldn't get the approval of it, because this is another one of those things that is like, damn, that is a romance title. That is a bodice ripper. Number 4 is called Dark Journey by Elaine Cunningham, and this came out in 2002, so another old one. This novel is considered a sci-fi, and the main character is Jaina Solo, and that is Han Solo and Leia's daughter. They had twins, by the way, and Jaina is one of those twins. So there is a significant romance plot in this book, but again, it's considered a sci-fi. So this last book, book number 5, I've actually read it. It is Dark Disciple by Christine Golden, and it came out in 2015. And this is also considered a sci-fi novel. Dark Disciple is Asajj Ventress's book. I think it was 7 episodes of the Clone Wars that were developed, but they ended up getting scrapped. So it got turned into a novel. And while this book does have a romance subplot, like there is like a romance between Ventress and Quinlan, they definitely fall in love and they kiss, but it's not like a lot of build up. All these books, they do have romance in them. They're not romance novels, and romance is a specific genre, and in this case, for all 5 of these books, it's sci-fi. I would say the way that these novels treat romance is like a microcosm to how Star Wars treats romance as a whole. And how does Star Wars treat romance as a whole? As secondary. It's always secondary to the larger story, which I get, it is not a romance brand. It's a adventure, sci-fi, fantasy brand. And quite frankly, whenever we do get stories that kind of center romance a little bit more, like with The Acolyte or the sequels, it gets like hated on so hard. Speaking of romance and being hated within Star Wars, but Ashley Poston, the author of the first official romance novel, is a Reylo, the shipping between Rey and Kylo Ren. Reylos have been keeping the Star Wars fandom alive for years, but a lot of people were like just saying how not excited they are about this because it's a Reylo writing it. I also want to acknowledge that Ashley is the 3rd official Reylo to be traditionally published with Lucasfilms. I think it is so cool that fanfiction authors and people that are like so invested and contribute to fandom in that way can be acknowledged by Lucasfilm. Like, I think that is so special, and I think it's so cool to know that Lucasfilm is just as receptive to fandom as we are to them. Fanfiction authors are some of the backbones to fandom. To see that acknowledged and cultivated and celebrated within Star Wars, I think is so cool, and I think it just leaves the door open for so many more opportunities for artists, writers, fans to participate in that way or be acknowledged by Star Wars. Some of the other criticisms that I saw in the fandom surrounding the announcement of this book was people were criticizing Star Wars for pandering to women because of Booktok. Booktok, by the way, is book TikTok. So it's like book content. And romance is like a huge topic on there. And it's been so profitable. And apparently that is like Star Wars pandering or like wanting a piece of that pie, which, okay. And they're a corporation. And when it comes to like pandering to women, it's like we hardly get anything. And when we do get stuff, like we're like called out on it. Like people are being like so backwards about it. They're saying that this is like infantilizing towards women and that we just want romance and we don't want any other stories. I do want romance in Star Wars. We don't have any of it yet. Like someone said that there's like 700 books, like around 700 books, maybe more, maybe less, of EU and canon books. 700 books and there's no romance? 700 books and there's maybe 5 that people consider romantic. So I don't know how they're pandering to like us Booktok girlies or whatever, but it doesn't make sense to me. But of course, this whole thing got like blown out of proportion because they brought up the fact that it's like a girl thing. Josh from Den of Nerds, he made like this post and he was like joking. He was like grifting. He's a grifter. He was talking about like how Star Wars is just like a girl's brand now, but Star Wars has always been for the boys. And he made this post saying no girls allowed in Star Wars. And honestly, it's giving Star Wars theories reheated nachos. Like, I think he wanted his Star Wars theory opportunist moment so badly. Also, why is it like every year the girls in the fandom are like getting called out for not being real fans because we're girls?
They ask you how you are and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
But within this, it kind of ended up backfiring on him because it platformed all these women in the Star Wars community. It platformed half the fandom, which was amazing. So I think that's funny. He tried to do his little thing and then it just made the community come together and rebel against that. So good for you girls. Proud of us. I just think it's really beautiful. Sisterhood is so beautiful. While I am a little bit disappointed that it's YA, young adult novels are fine, but they don't really get into like like mature content. And I'm not just talking about like smut, of course. The problems that a character is going through in a YA novel are just not as complex or as mature as a character who is like in their older ages. So it's just not as mature. I mean, it's not as like dynamic or complex. So that's a little bit of a disappointment. I think that Disney is just playing it super safe. This is no hate on Ashley. I haven't read the book at all. I plan on reading it. I want to support this book. I'll have to check back in summer 2026 and let you know what I think. Also, it's not lost on me that this couple looks like Draco and Hermione Granger, like Hermione at home. So those are all the critiques and drama I've seen surrounding this book that we know nothing about. We don't even know the names of these characters. I think that people just love to hate on and devalue romance novels, books, movies, fan fiction, and it's primarily like a women's thing. So it doesn't surprise me that this announcement of a romance book got as much hate and backlash as it did. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised. I'm super excited for romance as a genre to be explored within Star Wars. I think that there's so much opportunity for rich storytelling in a galaxy far, far away, and it just makes me so excited to see Star Wars taking some kind of risk. Even if it is the safest risk, it's still a risk. I'm excited to not just be living off AO3 scraps. I mean, I still will be, because let me know what you guys think about us having our very first Star Wars romance novel. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, and may the Force be with you.